Welcome to ADHD Power Tools, where we give you the tools to unlock the power within. Hello, Brooke. Today I want to ask you, why is taking a pause so crucial for the ADHD brain?
Sure. So ADHDers are very often in motion all the time. I like to think of it as a horse with blinders and a carrot. You just keep going and going and going. And especially when we're in the hyper focus mode, it's hard to stop and just see life as we know it peripherally.
Mm-hmm.
So they say the most successful people check in with themselves every hour. I know that could be hard for a lot of us, but taking a pause can just help us reset and get some oxygen flowing into our brain, take a break, help us regain our focus before we move back into the next task, or decide to just keep moving on to different tasks just because we are already. Sometimes we just keep going because we keep going. And sometimes we don't need to keep going, but it's hard. And I know we'll talk about this with imposter syndrome and ADHD. It's hard sometimes to just stop and say enough is enough. So taking pauses throughout the day, centering yourself, saying, okay, what am I feeling in the moment? Where am I at? Am I meeting the actions that I had intended to? And also, when you start feeling like you're tired and your focus is dripping a little bit and draining, it's okay to stop. I know a lot of us are fearful that we won't come back to it if we stop, but in reality, you're not doing yourself any service if you just keep going, because our brain is not meant to focus for 8 hours on end.
Exactly. And you bring up a lot of interesting points. I mean, taking a pause is so crucial. When I think taking a pause, I think of some situations. I'll start off first with like a social situation. For an ADHDer who's like a big talker like myself, there's so many social situations like in a conversation where I'm saying something, and then later on I'm like, oh, I wish I'd said something different. I shouldn't have said that. And there's moments where I interrupt others at the wrong timing, and this is impulsive behavior. I used to do it a lot when I was younger, but I use this very important tool: take a pause, think twice, deep breath, be a good listener, and understand the conversation balance. Give and take is very important. You don't want to interrupt others. And there's many ways to remind yourself externally. Obviously, you can internally tell yourself, take a pause, deep breath, think, count to 5. But there's external things you could do, like a sticky note, for example. A sticky note, write on it, pause, put it in your car, in your room. A lot of these meetings, a lot of these interactions that we have with people these days are over Zoom. So you can put a little sticky note and say pause on your laptop or on the wall in front of you. So it'll just remind you, listen, don't be impulsive, don't interrupt, don't get excited, because we get really excited sometimes. That's one of the situations that I think taking a pause is very important. Another situation is doing tasks. And one of the recent ones that I stumbled upon was, so I recently fixed up my room. I got a bunch of furniture from IKEA. I got a desk, 2 nightstands, a bed, a wall mount for my TV, and a TV. So each thing, IKEA, you buy something, you got to build it yourself. So I like that a lot. It kind of builds a connection with you and the furniture in a way. But each piece of furniture has a manual. It has we have to read step by step. Obviously, what you have, it organizes it in a manual read. You got to do this 1, this 2, this 3, this 4. And sometimes, especially when I was younger, I realized this. I was like, I do this all the time. I tend to jump in right away without even reading the manual. I just want to figure it out. It's like a puzzle. I want to do it by myself. Sometimes I do step 1 and I'm like, I see 2 things that can come together, but that's like in step 5 and I haven't done 2 yet. And I go to step 5 and do it. And I realize, oh no, this is not how it's supposed to happen. You have to do it step by step. There's a reason that they want you to put it all together. So that right there is important. Take a pause, understand what you're working with, read the manual, stay organized, and just really take a deep breath and think twice about things.
Sure. I always say that instructions are distractions for the ADHD brain.
Yes, yes.
It's really hard to follow those. I like the sticky note idea of stopping and pausing. Also, something I used to do was put a bell, almost like Pavlov's theory,
Mhm.
on my cabinet door. So every time I would open the cabinet, I just heard the bell, and it made me just stop in the
Mhm.
moment and
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
and catch my thoughts. And that was another way to just be present and mindful of what I'm doing in the moment, since
Mhm.
all of us very often are just on the go all the time.
Yeah, and the bell's important. Sticky notes are important, and I bring this up a lot. Friends, people that you're surrounded by, make sure they understand what you want to improve, when you should pause, things like that. Being in the say a social setting, conversation, having that friend that maybe is like looking at you like take a pause, breathe. Someone that understands you, you're really close to, and you're really comfortable with. Reminding you and making sure helping you take that breather and thinking twice. It's really important, very important.